I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, no, well, not too bad. We had I had a busy week, had a stressful week, trying to sort out moving, and then at the end of the week, Liverpool won the league, and I got my degree, so that was all a pretty good weekend. Um,
Nice.
yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you, so thank you.
You've won a degree.
I have the longest undergraduate degree in the history of the United Kingdom.
Is
It
that
was
true?
so long. Probably, I'll have to look up the Guinness Book of Records, but the degree that took me so long that I got a degree in another country in the meantime. that's that's how long this degree took me.
What was the degree you got in the other country? Was it like
I have a qualifying law degree in the Czech Republic. I can practice law in the Czech Republic,
nice?
but but until yesterday I couldn't. Well, I still can't practice law in the UK because they have the bar exam. But you know, I can now practice law in the US if I take a test.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just have to take a test, right?
yeah.
So are you? Is that
In
the goal?
well, actually, specifically, with the states, it's different, obviously. But in New York and California, it's just a test.
Yeah. And from what I understand, California's test is very hard. I don't wait. It's I
I've
forget
heard
which
that
one of
too.
them.
I've heard
I
that
think
too.
it's California's test is like they're like, oh, we'll give it to you with a test, but like
Yeah, which is
it's
fair because most of the time you need like a year of like understudy and shit. So fair enough. Like
Mhm. Yeah,
also,
it's
yeah.
it's a hard one. What you were gonna say?
Also, I'm getting close to the end of New Vegas, ish,
Nice.
kind of.
Depends on.
I haven't done any of the DLCs yet, and I'm planning on doing them all. So we'll
So
see.
not really. The DLCs can sometimes take longer than like big parts of the actual like game itself, depending on which one you're doing. Like overall blues can literally take forever. You can be stuck in there for years and not get out.
Well, that's the one I'm doing first.
Are you doing? You're doing all four? You
That's the
decided to do Honest Hearts and Dead Money?
Yeah, that's the current plan. I might change my
Okay.
mind.
Yeah. Well, I think we discussed like if you were doing greatest hits, maybe you would have. I don't know. Well, if you're doing greatest, I forget what our discussion landed on, but I do remember you were like reticent about doing Dead Money because you weren't in the mood. But
Yeah, I don't know. I've been having a lot of fun lately. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. So I guess just keep playing. I am thoroughly annoyed at ammo weighing, having weight. It's grating on me because I'm so unused to playing with it. It's
oh, I actually really like it because it makes you have to like plan out what you're taking with you, and it gives
yeah.
you a reason. And it gives you a reason to sell your ammunition if you don't have a base yet.
If the
Um,
inventory was better, then maybe I would also agree. It's just so finicky. And I'm
yeah,
sad. And also that I wish the description for ammo was better because some, especially of the GRA ammo, it just doesn't tell you what it does. Like it's just like this. Literally, some of them don't even have a description, so because they don't do any like raw things, right? Like sometimes they'll say, okay, damage times whatever. But if the
mhm.
ammo type is special and it doesn't have any modifiers, it just does something special. It doesn't tell you. You just have to fire it and find out. Like the
Well,
beanbag
like
rounds are just like
yeah.
0.25 and it's like okay what does it do and it's the same with the high yield mini nukes. It's like it just doesn't say
Yeah,
anything. I'm just like
or tiny tots. I don't think it says what those do. Or like, there's just a series of things that where it's like, what the fuck is this? And you fire it, and maybe it does something. Maybe you don't know yet. But yeah, no, I agree. That's confusing. Yeah. Overall, I guess it's probably also because I played with the ammo having weight so many times that it's kind of felt it felt I'm used to it. It feels like a part of the game to me. But
yeah,
I can imagine if the first time it being
it's not the
annoying.
first
I'm
time, it's just the vast majority of the time I'm
okay.
used.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite, right, where I've played for 10 years like and like 80% of it's been off of hardcore, so it's like I'm
Hmm.
so used to that. And in this playthrough where I'm like min-maxing like a reasonable amount, that's where it's starting to be like, oh my god, okay, I've got to like go back to, and not to mention I have to take a trip to like Mead every like day. Like I've got to fast travel up to like Mead to take a drink. I've got to like go everywhere else, so it's just like it's just constant like fast traveling here, and I'm like, okay, whew, now I'm gonna do a
Wait,
quest for like
you're
no.
fast traveling to Lake Mead just to get a drink of water?
Is there a faster zero rad source that I can fast travel to?
I would imagine. Well, so the only thing I would say that is inefficient about that is that the fact it accounts for. I'm pretty sure I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it accounts for thirst over fast travel.
It does.
So by going in, you're like you waste some of the thirst getting to the place after Lake Mead. I would just recommend buying purified water bottles.
I did, and then I ran out of them, and I was like, I'm sick of having to continue to stock these up.
So do you know the two really good dealers?
Sure.
There's two in my head, really good dealers. One of them is I forget the name of the shack, but when you're headed to New Vegas on the normal route, so heading up on the normal route, the road, it comes
the new
from,
route, not the normal route. It's the new route.
The new route,
yeah.
Of course. The normal route for a playthrough, but the new route in the lore of the So that route, it is the abnormal route. That route, like one of the last stops, there's like two people selling food.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you know
remember that actually. Yeah,
they always sell. Yeah, Grub and Gulp. They always sell a ton of purified water. And then the other place that has a lot of purified water is the quartermaster at Camp McCarran. He usually, or not the quartermaster. The quartermaster is no.
He's my boy, the 308 boy. That's the quartermaster.
No. The quartermaster's amazing. But the food guy, there's like a guy who sells food at Camp McCarran. He has like a cantina, and he usually sells, from what I remember, a lot of purified water and a lot of vegetables and fruits that don't give you rads either. So he's a good guy to go to on a hardcore playthrough.
Interesting. I don't think I'm going to be allowed in Camp McCarran much longer, but I'll keep that in mind.
Yikes. What's going on? You killing the NCR?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
What do you mean we'll see?
We'll see.
Well,
look, the fort has a merchant who plays unlimited hands of Caravan. How can I say no?
Wait, really?
Yes.
Is he glitched?
No. I mean, they never patched it. He doesn't, like, sell weapons or anything, but it's still good.
Well, yeah, but... Wow. Interesting. What does he sell? I know who you're talking about. The merchant right outside the gate.
Dale,
when you get
it. He sells aid and misc.
Okay.
Yeah, like food, water, some weapon mods.
And literal trash.
Yeah, but like weapon repair kit trash.
Nice. I can imagine just buying... Just for getting the most out of the McCarran, just buying actual trash room to fill up your valley. Just like buying pieces of trash. No, but okay. Well, that's good to know. I did not know you could play Infinite Caravan with him. I
forgot how high the limits were on the strip gambling stuff.
They're pretty high on them.
Yeah, I thought they were like 8K, but it's like 15 for the white gloves.
I think the white gloves have the highest one, right? I think it's Gomorrah, Tops, white gloves is the highest, and then I think
interesting. Tops was like 10K.
And then I think it's something like that. Yeah, that sounds about right. And I think Gomorrah might be like 8K, and then I think the Atomic Wrangler's like 6K, and then I think the what's it called in Prim it is like 4K.
Vance Casino,
yeah. Vicky and Vance is like 4K.
Yeah, so like, that one doesn't have blackjack though, does it? Right? I don't think the Vicky and Vance has blackjack.
It doesn't?
I don't think so.
I thought it does in a back room.
Maybe you're right. I don't
know.
But yeah, I'm up to I think 250K now.
What's your luck?
8, maybe 8. I got the lucky shades last episode though, so it's gonna help.
Luck is eight's a good reliable one to do gambling with.
With blackjack, the other stuff, not so much.
Yeah, you still get screwed out of the other ones.
Especially, no, I tried both when I was in the Wrangler, but like roulette especially is just like, unless I just don't know. Actually, I don't know how to play roulette. Maybe I'm playing really stupidly, but I can play blackjack really stupidly and still get really rich. So I just stick to that.
Just
double down. Double down.
Hit everything. Double down everything. Don't count anything. I'm guessing that counting. I don't know if counting cards would even work in the New Vegas version of blackjack, since the cards are altered by by your luck.
I doubt it. I'm pretty sure I get like 21s 5 times in a row anyway, so I very much doubt that it would work.
Yeah. So it's too bad. Yeah. So it's just pure. Yeah. I've made money using roulette before, but to be fair, that was probably on like a luck 9 character.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
try to like avoid intense training as much as possible because I think other perks are probably more valuable. So I only like got one intellect, I think, and that's the only intense training I've got. But I did buy all of the implants, so that
I'll
helped.
sometimes take intense training the first level, I think, and then that's it. Because
Yeah.
after that, almost everything else is more valuable. I agree. I think in sometimes I don't find something else valuable enough to catch my eye on the like when you level up for the first time. But everyone after that usually is like it has some really good stuff, especially once you hit like level 8 and onward. You're dealing with things like comprehension and like you're dealing with like really good perks that can really explode a build. But I think that but yeah, I think that with 9 luck, roulette is easier, but lower than that, I've never made money on slots like significantly. You always get fucked over on slots. I feel like maybe your luck barely affects slots.
I've heard that you're supposed to get right up to the limit and then go hit the slots because you can get big payouts from slots and like break the cap, as in like you can go over the cap, right? So like if you're like 100 under and you win like 4K or something, then that's obviously huge. But
yeah, but the problem is like, what if you keep losing and like I don't know. Yeah, I get that. I'm not even sure if slots though has the best payout. I would imagine roulette does because it's like, isn't it something like 36 to 1 payout or I don't know. It's a crazy payout, but
cool.
I don't know. But yeah, I know of. I think after a while though, it's like, how much money do you need?
Well, we have an aim on our playthrough. We're hitting 1 million or bust. That's the plan.
Oh, you're trying to get 1 million caps?
Yeah.
I've never gotten 1 million caps before.
Me neither. I haven't got anywhere near what I've got right. I think 250, which is what I've got right now, is the most I've ever had. So
you need to sell all your gold bars.
I don't even know if I'm gonna get all the gold bars. It seems like cheating.
Seems like cheating?
I mean, it's gonna be a big boost.
There's a non-cheat way to do it.
No, I mean like in terms of getting 1 million caps, it feels like cheating. You know, I feel like I gotta barter my way to the top, barter and adventure my way to the top.
That's fair. Although I'll say those bars are so valuable that it's literally very difficult to actually like. I think the only dealer you can actually trade them in with isn't it the gun runners, and like that's it. Like,
well, no, the Crimson Caravan guy does 12,000 caps every respawn.
Oh.
Yeah,
wow, that's a lot.
That man is crazy. Also, Contreras has enough 308 rounds, you can trade with him, I guess.
Yeah. He's like, do you want caps? No, I want you pay me in bullets.
Ridiculous. Is there any like microfusion cell dealer that is that good? I doubt it, right?
The only place I can think is the quartermaster in the Brotherhood. It's the only person I could think who would sell a lot of.
She doesn't actually sell microfusion cells. I thought that too. Checked it out recent. She doesn't sell any.
That's lame.
Yeah. Sells power armor though. Unbranded 51s.
Van Graffs, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
You wipe them out.
I didn't wipe not yet, but they won't deal with me.
Yeah. Well, that's the only person I could think of who would sell microfusion cells in large quantities.
I think the Sync might. We're gonna look into that.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I don't remember that, but maybe. Could be. Yeah. Good luck.
Thank you.
You need a lot of microfusion cells?
Yeah, I'm using a Gauss rifle right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you using the unique one? The really good one?
No, I got Wild Wasteland for this playthrough.
Oh! You got the alien blaster?
Yeah, it's in a box.
A box labeled for emergencies.
For future Deathclaw mothers. That's. I mean, I used it in the Deathclaw, whatever it's called, the thing with the Enclave power armor in it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember the name of that location, but I used it in there. That was memes. That was so memes.
Yep.
Fucking just stealth boy and watch them run around like what? I ran out of ammo though.
Yikes.
That's the only reason why I used the alien blaster is because I was out of ammo for everything else.
Okay. Well, I think before we get started with the session, next week I have a thing that is going to take up my time on the session day. So instead of a normal session, I was thinking we would between now and the next session, which would be a week after that, we would do. We would role play some of your journey, depending on what you complete today, obviously, but some of your journey over text, and I could give you some challenges and some things you have, some basically decisions you have to make, but over text.
Okay.
Yeah, you like that idea?
Yeah, sure,
I
we
think
could do that.
could be fun.
We could also just we could also fit something in the next 2 weeks, right?
Um,
Or are you super busy right now?
we probably could. The other reason I thought we would just take a break is because I thought I assumed you were like doing a lot of moving stuff, but
I am, but like I'm never like that guy. Like I can fit 2 hours in. I like this, so I'll find time. Like the only problem I have is when I don't have internet. That's when we're gonna have to think about things. But that hopefully at the moment now, of course, dates are always changing. But at the moment, that's only going to be the 7th and the 8th of July, and neither of those are usual session dates. So, like. Yeah. So if you're good to play at some point in the next 2 weeks, I'm good to play. I'll find time.
okay. I'll think about when we can do it then.
Mondays and Wednesdays are my best days.
Mondays are good.
Cool.
Yeah. In that case, we will.
We can still do some of the roleplay over text stuff because I like that in the run up.
You get none. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway. In that case, we are going to. Oh no, I fucked with Ragni. Okay, there we go.
What, Ragni?
And, I still fucked with Ragni. Okay, anyway.
Fuck you for fucking with Ragni.
Fuck you. Okay, so we are going to get into the thick of it. When last we left our hero, the brave
and no hero,
and strong and most importantly, fortitudinous, Tarius Gladwin Jr. Those are not real words. Anyway, he led his band to the south through Moorland in an attempt to find, basically in an attempt to find a old ruined manor that he was told about by the uncle of Peter Gormland. However, on the way there, Tarius and company encountered a herd of feral cattle, which Tarius decided it would behoove the group to stop and take the cattle try to take them back to their owners if they could be found. Tarius said, "Yeah, let's do it." And the party arranged a cattle wrangling where everyone participated except Tarius.
Hey,
hey!
Didn't ask for your commentary over that omnipotent god.
And the party was able to wrangle the cattle all the way back to the town where they were from. And there
Fiefdale.
Fiefdale, yeah. Yeah, you were able to wrangle them back to Fiefdale, and there you met with the town's reeve, as well as you met with a farmer and
Farmer McGinnis.
You were able Farmer McGinnis, and you were able to arrange basically redelivering the cattle to them in exchange for a lot of barley and copper coins. And hopefully this will help the town out and help the guild out at the same time. And with this, the fist turned away with the possibility of some brewery being established. There were some dealings there that were interesting.
Yeah.
And then the party went back south to try to find the manor, to loot it and perhaps look for clues.
Loot is such a negative connotation word. We're going to requisition for the fist.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're going to requisition it. And possibly requisition some clues. Or loot some clues.
Looting some clues, I think, is fair, yeah.
It's fun. That's a fun term. That sounds almost like Scooby-Doo-ish, you know? It's
Dora the Explorer, yeah.
Yeah. The pirate of the high seas of clues. Anyway, clues. Anyway, loot some clues. But yeah, so with that, we are going to pop into the today's session. So, how? What is the brave and handsome Tarius up to?
I got a
He's
question.
actually.
Go ahead.
It's those descriptors are perhaps a bit far beyond. Anyway, what was your question?
Is there any narrative feeling that a character gets when he knows he has enough experience to level up?
That's a good question. I generally think that it might be if there was a narrative, and I like the idea that there is. If there was a narrative, it would be that whatever you're getting from the next level, and obviously with some levels this is complicated because with some classes they just don't get things on certain levels except HP, which sucks. But I think whatever it is you're getting for the next level, it is something that you maybe have like a moment where you realize this is something maybe you could accomplish, whatever it is, like whether it's a move or something like that. But you feel that you need time to think about it, to practice it. You need time to sleep on it. And I think that is kind of what maybe your feeling would be.
Okay, I like it. Yeah. So when I level up, I'm gonna critical more often. I think it's probably the way in which I was taking down those wolves, the like vital places I was hitting. But I need to think about it a little more. It's probably occupying my mind as we write off. Also, I'm probably surprised how effective I was, because I was relatively effective, and I think I'm not considered in martial circles to be, a melee fighter. Most people expect me to use the bow.
Although you might owe Alessandro your life.
Yeah, I might. That's true. Although I would have got to attack, but maybe I wouldn't have killed it.
That's not the way Alessandro would tell the tale. No, I'm just kidding.
So I'm just thinking about that, and I think I've always got this chip on my shoulder, and every time I prove myself in like melee, I'm a bit on a high from that. And as I see in the distance the mana, I definitely want to be careful, because also, despite the fact that, Tarius hasn't actually used any resources out of character, or at least none that haven't come back, but he's tired, because he's a meek man. He can only do so much in a day. They've travelled quite a lot, and they fought some wolves, so he's going to try and make sure that this place is safe to look around, and if there's any inclination of danger, he is going to rethink his plan. So he slows the group and begins to ride ahead, kind of perimetering the manor if he can, and trying to get a look at it, but stealthily.
Okay. Yeah. So give me like a distance away from the manor that you're drawing the circle that you're walking in. Are we talking like a quarter of a mile, a half a mile, or?
I'm going to use feet. About 150 feet.
Oh, okay. Much closer.
Much closer.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to get a good look. Unless, I suppose, I'm going to approach the manor.
Well, you'd be able to see the manor and details of it from a quarter mile away. You just wouldn't be able to see exact things.
Indeed. So I'm going to approach to about 150 feet, but I'm going to keep my eye on what I'm making. So I'm making a direct approach, and I'm checking for anything that might be hostile to me. Once I've reached 150 feet, that's when I'll begin perimeter.
Nice. I like it.
All of which is slow, sticking to as much foliage as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like it. So you march through, and I think that, yeah, you don't see anything too much of note. But as you get closer, you do notice smoke that appears to be coming not from the manor, but from what you now see to be some sort of campsite about 100 feet from the manor. Not on your side, though, that you're approaching from. You're approaching from the south, This appears to be on like the northwest side of the manor that this little campsite is on.
Okay. Is there any forest nearby?
Yeah, in the distance, but it's probably about a mile away. The manor is situated on a hill that is rounded by a stream, and there's a lot of open fields here that would have would have been, from what you were told, would have been used for harvesting crops. So there are woods, but they're in the distance. They're not like within, for example, like I mean, you can get to them, but they're not like a stone's throw from the manor.
Do I think that the campsite is down the hill or on the hill?
The campsite is still on the hill. It's not down it.
Okay, I'm gonna retreat down the hill and make my way next to the stream across to where I think I can see the smoke trail, so I'm gonna go across, keep my profile low on the horse, and then start trying to approach the campsite from going up the hill so that I have the cover of the hill as I'm doing so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're approaching basically from the campsite's backside then.
Yeah, I want to come up the hill so that it's hard for me to see, but it's also hard for me to be seen. But because because I'm on the horse, I should have a decent vantage point, I suppose.
Yeah, so you do so. Why don't you roll me a stealth check? Sure. Assuming you're trying to sneak.
I am. 10.
Okay. So you approach, and you see.
I'm approaching with the purpose of scouting, not to get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You approach. You have to get close enough to. I'm assuming you want to still see what's there, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I'm very much keeping an eye out for danger, though. In the first sight of it, I'll change my plan.
Mm-hmm.
If I catch that.
You gaze over the top of the hill, and you see a tent, a fire that seems to be generating the smoke you saw, as well as a log and some other like pots and pans and a small little table. And sitting by the campfire appears to be an old orc. And since you are just peeking up and then peeking back down, I'm going to give him disadvantage on his perception check.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to give him disadvantage on a passive perception because he's not really actively looking for you, which would be -5, which means your stealth would still work. So, yeah, he doesn't notice you. He appears to be. Now, of course, that passive perception will no longer be a -5 if you stay out of the hill for longer. But because you're just ducking back down, he's having trouble noticing you. But yeah, when you saw him, he appeared to be doing something with the campfire, cooking, maybe tending the fire. You're not sure.
How big is the tent?
It's big enough for him and maybe one other person or gear. You're not sure.
Okay, and there was only one tent.
Or yeah, you only saw one tent, and it's basically a standard 2-person tent. It's like 6 feet long and probably 4 feet wide.
And was the orc in armor?
Yes, he appeared to be wearing splint mail.
Ooh, respective. Is there any orcs in Moordrake or Castle Gormland that are like part of the community? Or half orcs?
Not part of the community.
Okay.
You know that there are tribes of orcs throughout this island, and there is a particularly reclusive tribe on the far west of the moors. So they're somewhere out here, basically. You wouldn't know the exact position, but they're somewhere in this area on the map. And you know that they don't necessarily go out of their way to attack people, but generally when patrols or caravans run into them, it's definitely not great. So it's kind of like a leave them be and you're fine, but mess with them and get too near them and you might get bitten. But you don't. That's the only like community of orcs you know of in Moorland.
And they're not known to speak Lower Rician, I suppose. All right, I'm asking, I guess.
I'm not. Do you? I guess I don't necessarily need to make you make a check. I just want to know: is this something that your character would have been interested in when they grew up, or
Well,
anytime?
I think from the same source that I learned about the habits of orcs, I would be curious as to if they were communicable, right? Like, if stories are told about encounters with orcs, surely some of those stories would include whether they were, even if it was battle cries, you know? So that would be my thing. That would be where I'd hear it from.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, orcs are known for speaking their own language, and you know that they generally, they generally use this language when they encounter foreigners, especially if they're fighting. Although it's not unheard of for any species or any race of Kith to be able to speak Low Arisian. It's just that you probably, from your sense of the area and the tribe, that most of the members of that tribe probably don't. Just like you know that most of the people in Moordrake don't speak Orcish, right? Yeah. It's not. This is not a bilingual culture in any way, or a time period where bilingualism is common. So you know that it's just unlikely.
Okay. I'm gonna get off the horse. I'm gonna move to some underbrush, and I'd like to spend some time. And by time I mean like a good at least 20 minutes observing the orc.
Cool. Why don't you re-roll stealth then?
15 this time.
Better. And since you're observing the orc longer, I'm not going to give him disadvantage, but also he still can't make it. So you're fine.
Did I find a nice bit of underbrush as well? Did I find some foliage? Oh, bush.
Yeah. So there appear to be a series of old. You think there were once probably topiaries that lined and circled the hill of the manor to try to prevent robbers from like climbing up the hill. Mm-hmm. They are now overgrown and weedy and don't really serve their original purpose. And they also don't look, they're now ugly. They don't look pretty as they might once have. Well, I suppose it depends. A druid might think they're pretty, but I think someone who likes topiaries wouldn't like them because they're now just overgrown and nasty and gnarled. But you think you're buried down in the bottom of these, just sort of real down under in the brush.
Cool. So I'd be obscured then, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that does, but cool. 15. Fine anyway.
So
how far away am I from this orc? Just for my own knowledge?
Probably 30 feet.
Ooh, that's pretty close. Nice. I got pretty close then.
Yeah, well, because the underbrush encircles the outside of the hill. He's already far away from the manor itself. So if you're going to be in the underbrush, you have to be kind of close to him.
Gotcha. I got there without being seen, so I'm not too problematic about it.
He doesn't seem to be actively looking for anyone.
Yeah.
He seems calm. And you watch him for 20 minutes, and you see as he definitely looks like he's cooking what appears to be a big pot of, you would assume, either soup or stew. You can definitely see liquid bubbling up from it occasionally, and you see that he has an old makeshift cutting board that he holds on his lap, and he appears to be slicing up chunks of meat and then throwing them into the stew. And then he takes
Can I make a nature check to try and figure out what the meat is?
Sure.
Would that be too hard? Okay. 16.
Looks to you to be definitely not poultry. You think it's red meat, so it's either something like a sheep or a cow or a pig.
Okay, cool. Did I see any of those on the way? Just out of curiosity. Probably.
You saw chicken feathers on the way in, but you didn't see any of those creatures.
And I don't think that's poultry. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So he's cutting the chunks of meat, throwing them in the stew. Then he pulls out 2 carrots, cuts them up, and throws them into the stew. And and you see he reaches into a chest, a little chest that he had under the little, but beside the log he was in. You couldn't see it at first. It's like this big. It's a very small chest, and he props it up onto his lap. He opens it, and you, close enough that you are to it, when the chest opens, you can smell this fragrant aroma of 20 different spices. Just this is a very fine spice chest, and the aroma, hits you pretty strong. And he takes bits of this out, bits of spices out. Unless you're a cooking expert, you probably don't know what he's taking out, but he takes out bits of spices and throws them. He sort of measures them in his hand, and then he throws them into the stew and takes out a big spoon and begins to stir it patiently as he looks up at the sky.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
I didn't. I just said okay.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't get picked up.
If you, probably around the 15th minute, while he's just stirring it patiently, he starts singing a song to himself quietly. Not like he's not blaring it, but quiet, loud enough that you can hear it, but you can't understand what the words to the song are.
Is that
it does appear
to
to
the language, or because of how far away I am?
Because of the language.
Gotcha.
It appears to be in a foreign tongue. What languages do you think Tarius has had experience with? Like, that he's heard is what I mean.
Yeah,
whether he learned.
I know. I know what you meant. I just don't. Yeah. The shake of the head is still. The Hallstatt, does it have a local language? I forget. A local common. It does, right? Or does it not? Does it just speak Irisian?
Wait, what are you saying?
What
was your question?
I forget if Hallstatt has a local common or whether they just speak
Irisian. Hallstatt's local common is Low Irisian.
Low Irisian. So it doesn't. There's not like a Hallstatt regional dialect. Okay.
No. Low Irisian is spoken both in Hallstatt and in Rackham and in Manfred province, which is far from here.
In that case, I do think High Irisian and Low Irisian. Halfling have their own language, right? So probably that. Dwarvish, maybe Elvish, because I'm pretty sure.
The halfling language is High Irisian.
Oh, you're right. It was a halfling empire.
Yeah.
So halflings don't have their own language. But Elvish.
No, they kind of do, but in my game, it is the halfling language is a dialect of Common. So it's kind of, they do have their own language, but it's not a unique dialect.
But Elvish,
or it's not a unique
Elvish
language.
Is a thing, and Dwarvish are a thing, right? Or are they not?
Elvish have dialects, but Elvish and Dwarvish is a thing. Dwarvish does not have any dialects. You either speak Dwarvish or you speak foreign.
So this type of Elvish that Alessander would speak would be of his Sea Empire thing. If he would.
It's called he can. I don't know if you might have heard it before. It's Valenteran Elvish.
Would he have ever actually used it? It wouldn't actually surprise me if he didn't, because he doesn't like.
Probably occasionally with a swear.
Okay. So it would be those then.
Because people tend to swear in their native tongue, whether they like it or not.
Yeah. So I would assume it would be Valenteran Elvish. Any other half elves that came from any other Elvish societies that live in this area, maybe those Elvish dialects. Low Irisian, High Irisian, and a lot of Dwarvish.
Okay. In that case, this sounds similar to Valenteran Elvish to you, the song he's singing.
Interesting.
But it doesn't sound necessarily the same.
Well, alright, I've made up my mind. At this point, I leave the bush.
Just walk out.
I leave the bush, my hands up, and I begin to approach. And when he notices me, my plan will change. But I'm not hiding.
As soon as he notices you, you put your hands down, pull out a gun. No. You walk out, and almost 2 steps out of the bush. I mean, probably as soon as he hears the bushes rustling, he's kind of looking around. And then you walk out, and he definitely seems to tense up when he sees you, but he doesn't reach for a weapon, which you do see he has one on his back. A big, mighty great sword propped on his back, but he doesn't grab it. I
point to my swords, and then I shake my head, and I put my hands up.
He looks you up and down, and he says something to you in a strange tongue. You hear Irgalutar.
Point to my mouth and I shake my head. I keep my hands up.
He looks you up and down, and you can see he notices your ring on your finger, the signet ring. He looks at it for a few moments, he looks back at you, and then he speaks to you in High Orisian.
Okay.
Hello there, traveler. Why have you come here?
Oh, noble creature, your High Orisian is impeccable. Wait, no, that's not Tarius. Noble creature, your High Orisian is impeccable. Could I sit and talk with you for a moment?
He nods and says, there is always a place at my campsite for those who do not bring harm to the world. And you can see that there is like a stump nearby that you can move towards the campfire if you wanted to.
Sure. Yeah.
And he says, are you hungry?
Always.
He reaches down next to him and he pulls out a wooden bowl, which he fills with the stew, and he says, your arrival is a fortuitous one. The soup has just become ready. And he hands you a bowl with a spoon in it, and then he pours himself one.
I could smell the spices from nearby. That is powerful stuff, friend.
I like to keep a well-curated spice cabinet, he says, and he begins to eat the soup.
Where did you learn to speak like that?
Like I am now. Well, that was a long time ago. I was taught it by a tutor. Not a tutor like me. He was... well... he was a strange creature. Like a... I am not sure you would know if there were the word for them, but he was a half man, half bird. And he could not speak until bidden to by his ears. But he knew foreign tongues well, and he taught me this one.
That blade, has it seen much use?
He looks at the blade and says, no, if I am to be honest, I have hardly fought anything in my life. I keep the blade to make others stay away. I assume that most who see an orc in heavy armor with a great sword at his back, they'll stay away. Keeps away most foes. Doesn't keep away the wolves, though. They're too stupid to be afraid.
An impressive play, friend. One I'm sure has come with experience. The wolves, I assume you're able to avoid. Through knowledge of the land, do you travel well?
That, and if you're willing to give up some of your dinner, they might leave you alone.
I had a similar thought recently, though we travel mostly with vegetables. Do you know if wolves eat the meat of their own?
If they were starving, perhaps. Or if they had no idea what it was.
Good to know. That's the only meat we have in our party at the moment.
He nods and says, there are many of you then.
A few more. Four, right? Yeah. Let me zoom over just to make sure. Yeah.
He says, well, perhaps some proper introductions are in order. What is your name?
My name is Tarius Ledvin Jr. I'm the lieutenant of a company called Tarra's Fist.
I see. I have heard of the company. He nods and says, "My name is Rachelius. And I'll send you what that looks like so you can, if you want to spell it properly."
Cool, yeah. I checked a Q in there, so that's a good shout. Let's paste that one instead. I have come here for that, and I point towards the manor.
He says, "I see. I have never been in it myself. I camp here when I'm passing through because the hill provides some protection from creatures. I have noticed that in all my times here, nothing has ever bothered me here. Well, wild animals, of course. To be fair, neither has a kith either. This is a first for me." And he drinks soup. And then he stops and says, "Not that you are bothering me, of course. I enjoy pleasant company."
It took me a while to assure the situation would not be difficult, but any people in the area that travel or have been here, I think it is useful to talk to. I have no qualms with your people so long as you are as reasonable as you are.
I suppose it depends what you mean by my people. I do not have a people. Not perhaps in the way that you do.
Perhaps that is true. If you are ever seeking a people, you seem competent. The Fist is always looking for experienced men like you.
The Fist is, from what I understand, a mercenary company. I do not think that they are looking for my sort of experience. I am a tale-teller, a weaver of song.
The Fist is a more varied outfit than you might expect. We have people of many persuasions there. Anyone who knows the land and can travel without being assailed, and anyone who is able to pass on information.
Fine, I'll accept the job of hornblower. You have to fire the current one. No, just
What does he say in response to what I say? Assumedly it's not that.
He says, "So you were naturally wary of approaching me at first. What changed your mind?"
If I can be honest, friend, you were alone. That was a big deal. If there were 4 or 5 of you, the percentages, they change. I wasn't 100% sure this encounter would not end badly, but I thought that approaching you, even if it did go badly, I thought I could get out alive. But watching you for some time, you seemed like us. You camped, you cooked. You seemed to be getting along, getting by. I saw nothing different in you than me or my kin.
Not what you expect of orcs, then.
Perhaps not many of my kind have gotten this close to see, or that close, I point to the bush, to see.
Well, if you ever do, you shall not see something like me among their ranks normally. At least not the tribes in this region. I come from a faraway land.
I will keep that in mind as to not let this encounter soften me for future ones.
This is good to know.
But that offer stands. You seem capable. We're actually hoping to expand our influence in this region, so we could use someone who knows the lands. Regardless, do you know anything of this manor?
He turns and says, "Not much. I know it belonged to a noble family once. I'm not sure which. And I know that they have not been here in a long time. Occasionally, when I camp here, I find clues as to why beasts stay away from the place.
Any you'd care to share?
I hear things at night. Sometimes they wake me from my slumber. Screams. Or occasionally, sort of like a howling. It does not sound natural, if you get my meaning."
What do you think it could be?
Well, I suppose it could be a person who is very upset. Although I find it unlikely that such a person is living in a place like this, just in disregard and disuse. And if there was a person who owned this land, I think they would have run me off years ago.
Perhaps not if you give them some stew.
Well, stew goes a long way. But no, if I were to guess, I would say that it is something unnatural. I remember many years ago I heard similar noises I was traveling with my master of the time to the burial grounds of his forefathers. And we left that place quickly that day. We came later than we would have liked, at night. Mm-hmm. And when we got there, we heard what to me sounded very similar to that. Howling or screeching. And I did not see it, but my master swears, or swore. The poor man is most likely dead now. But he swore that he saw a person. But not a normal person, a grey person.
Like an elf.
Perhaps. Although most elves aren't grey, from what I understand.
They come in various colours from her day.
Yes.
I think the sweets.
He does. He says, I have heard of elves with a discoloration of their skin of that sort, but do not believe they dwell on the surface.
Interesting. A grey person, you say? Well, would you advise me not to go? Not to explore what lies beyond that door?
He shrugs and says, I know some of the Fist's reputation, but I do not know much of yours, I am afraid. I would suppose that it would depend on your capabilities. I have encountered many men and women in this world who have shocked me with the grit of their teeth and the strength of their steel, but I have also met many fools who have died without purpose.
You said you have been here for some time.
In the grand scheme of things, not that long. I've been in Hallstatt for 5 years.
Have you ever seen goblins in this area?
Goblins? You know. Not goblins, but something like a goblin. Well, not really like a goblin, but something you would assume to be associated with goblins. I have never seen goblins in this area, but 2 years ago, I swear I saw great wolves in the distance, but they did not seem to me to be wolves. They were too large, too feral, and they had hair that was black and untidy. They reminded me of the stories of the goblin riders who would mount something I believe called a warg. It's like half wolf, half boar. Terrible creatures. If those were what I saw, then that could have something to do with goblins, but it could have been a trick of the light. And this was some time ago. As I said, 2 years.
Well, if the goblins are able to ride such steeds, perhaps that will explain why. You see, I am currently investigating a group of goblins who have stolen something. Perhaps that will explain the pace at which they escaped.
Not only can they ride them, from what I hear, they can speak to them. The wargs, legend has it at least, have the intelligence of perhaps a dim-witted man or woman. Not geniuses, but smart enough to speak.
Formidable foes.
I would imagine they are twice my size.
I am to be told that this manor once fended off a goblin invasion. Have you seen anything that may lend you to thinking that it was tactically equipped to do so? Weapons or fortifications?
Well, any weapons outside of the manor I have not seen. I would guess that they would have been stripped long ago by passerby. I have not been inside the manor, although I have seen something strange. Around the gate of the manor, there was an old trench dug. Sort of like you would see dug around a castle gate, a moat, so to speak. Very strange for a manor of this sort. They're usually not built to defend in that way. It does not have water in it anymore, but perhaps it has dried up. Maybe it was used once. I'm not sure.
Interesting. Did you and your master speak any more in the years following about that encounter you had with that grey person? About how you may fight them? About what their strengths, their weaknesses would be?
Well, if the grey person was the unliving, then I believe, from what I have heard, they have only one weakness. From what I have heard. And that is a man or woman of the cloth. Which cloth? Well, that is for theologians to argue, but I believe that those who walk in the light of the gods might have the capabilities to deal with such foes more efficiently. As for the rest of us, I imagine a strong arm and a sharp sword might help.
So those who even walk in undeath but retain flesh, they are able to be faced by mere mortal weapons. Actually, I just realised I have a magic bow. I don't really care too much about this, but go on.
He says they can, I believe, from what I have heard. Although I don't know much about them. I have also heard stories of ghosts, but those are fairy tales from when I was a young boy. I would imagine if you did run into such a thing, a sword might not work so well. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a proper ghost.
I see. Those fairy tales. How would you combat a ghost in those fairy tales?
He says, well, since we are moving from the realm of fact and legend and firmly into the realm of mysticism and ancient lore.
Sometimes the lines are more blurred than you might expect, friend.
He nods and says, that is true. A storyteller like myself should know that. I would say stories of ghosts tend to involve, well, from what I understand, ghosts are often bereaved in some way. They are, well, in the ancient stories, they are always haunting a place because they missed something when they were alive. They either didn't accomplish something or something. In some way, they are looking to finish business, but because of their form, they cannot finish that business. And so they are trapped in an endless circle of pain and hatred, at least in the ancient tales. Heroes in the fairy tales would either slay the ghosts, or the more intelligent, more charismatic heroes, like Fethenrir the Brave. He would be more likely to appease the ghost, find out why it was haunting its area, and bring it to rest without raising a sword.
Interesting. You know, someone with business to do, but without the means of doing it. My uncle would say that is the perfect customer for the fist. Anyway, just an aside.
Business to do, but without. Wait, what was
Without the
it?
means to do it.
What kind of business do you think he's doing?
The ghost?
Oh, the ghost! Oh! He nods and says, "Your uncle sounds like an interesting man."
Interesting, yes. Yes. Very reckless, but a good man. A good man. I miss him. Regardless.
Oh, is he?
Ah, yes, I'm afraid I would not be in my current position were my uncle still alive. But, we all put our lives on the line in this line of work. It's what makes things interesting, right? You never know which sleep will be your last.
May the lady carry him to his final resting place.
Oh, we already buried him a few years ago. His final resting place was down by the lake. With the peasants. He always liked the peasants.
He laughs and says, "I do not speak of his physical form. I speak of his soul.
Oh, like a ghost.
Like a ghost, perhaps, but not trapped. Free to wander. And to move on to a better place."
I look down at my hands. To be free of our physical limitations. Now that is a fairy tale, friend.
It is one many fairy tales speak of. And also many holy books.
I should get around
But
to
I am...
reading one of those.
He says, "I should too."
I laugh heartily and raise the soup. I must be getting back to my companions, but if you see me around, don't hesitate to wave. Come over. We need to repay you for this. And I give him back the ball, actually, because I'm finished.
Okay, he takes it and he takes a water skin and rinses it out so that it doesn't get all stuck on later. And then he he did that very aggressively for some reason. No, I'm just kidding.
Can you see my plates? I mean, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Then he looks at you and says, "I will return the compliment to you that you gave me when we first started speaking."
That I speak good Hierosian. I assume is that what he means? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you speak it like one who has practiced it. I assume by your ring that you learned it from a tutor, something of that nature. You are a noble.
Unfortunately, it is not a language you can just pick up from hearing it, though I did hear it a lot. But yes, my family is noble.
You probably learned it from someone like me, then.
I think about that as I walk away, not quite understanding what he means, but I nod and I'm like, yeah. And I'll walk away.
Out of character, do you understand what he meant, or?
No, I don't think so. No, I can't put it together. Yeah.
Okay, he continues to cook his pot. He's saying that your mother is in work. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow! I'm changing my stats over to half orc. Get that crit bonus. No kidding. Alright. I return to my companions. Is it getting dark yet?
It is. The sun is setting.
One piece of advice that he did give me that's sticking in my head as I walk back is that he regretted approaching that place at night. But I return to my companions. I mean,
Nice.
I was always going to go back to them, at least, right? You know?
Yeah. You get back to your companions, and Sir Renault says, "Sir, I was considering coming. I thought you were perhaps injured. You were there for a long time."
I suppose I was gone quite a while. I found a fellow traveller, an orc man.
An orc?
A nod. Old one, wise. Been in this area quite a while. He had much knowledge to share.
Sir Reynolds' incredulity grows, and he says, "An orc with much knowledge to share." How is this possible? They are savages who raid the land and burn farms.
Apparently he was from very far away.
An orc from far away? An orc who boards boats? This is impossible.
Well, like I said, perhaps he is a very different kind of orc. I point to Alessandro. Elves from very far away are very different to elves really close to us tonight.
Alessandro nods.
And what of you? I point at Ragni. The dwarvish clans of another mountain are very different to yours, correct?
Well, it is true. Although all dwarves share a similar countenance, we'll say.
Yeah. And even our empires. Not everyone along the world, Sir Renald, has thrown off the oppression of the halfling menace.
Renault says, how long have you been such a patriot?
Oh.
I did not take you as a revolutionary. But come with me to the Bastille. We have to cut off the heads of the traitors. And he leads you back into them. The king is here with a cut his head.
That was impressive work, Renault.
Ross like, I did it in those last 10 minutes.
I say, the house up on the hillside there might be infested by a creature that is dead but not dead. I look around.
Yeah, they all look a bit concerned at this. Actually, Alessandro just nods.
Okay.
Renault and Ragni look concerned. Kristen says, dead but not dead. So
post-living but still walking.
Undead tends to be the term for such people.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
The orc told you this?
Can I roll an insight check to see if she's saying that, like, in the same way that Renault was? Like, she doesn't trust orcs or the orc, I guess?
Sure.
Oh, that one.
You think that Kristen is a genuine orc racist.
I look at her and I say, well, yes, he did. And he told me much. He told me of his master. And they had encountered these things before. He even gave me some tips. We should not approach it at night. And, what was the other thing? Oh, yes, that holy people can possibly kill them.
Alessandro said, or not Alessandro, Kristen says, all right, yeah, I mean, that sounds reasonable.
I agree, it does.
Just, we both are in agreement then.
I guess we are.
She sort of sits there for a second, staring at you, just confused, and then she says, well, certainly, that is a first for my time in the fist.
Well, does anybody else have any more information on these? And then I look at Kristen for a second. I think. And then I'm like, I'm dead.
Ragni says, well, there are old crypts scattered throughout the mountains of the world where the dwarves of ancient times would bury their kin. And it is said that they buried them there so that in case the dwarves ever rose out of their graves, that they would be far away from the cities they built. I myself have never heard of a dwarf rising from his grave, but then again, most of my stories come from the humble clan, or from the humble clan. I need to check his name. Grim, from the humble clan Grim, and therefore we don't have many dead to speak of, and those that are have not risen yet.
I like that. I like that line. Very well. I do not like the idea of camping out here. But does anybody have any strong feelings as to whether we should? Well, we'd have to camp inside the manor anyway, which sounds probably worse, regardless of how much investigation we do. I suppose it's our only option.
Sir Renault says, well, perhaps we could wait till dawn. It seems unduly dangerous to charge in there during the night with such creatures about. And Alessandro turns to him and says, are you afraid, Renault? And Renault says, no, I would fight 10 of them, but it is just stupid to do so.
Well, I was told by the orc that such creatures are perhaps either more frequent or more powerful during the evenings. He and his master, especially, greatly regretted their encounter was at night. We should not make the same mistake.
Alessandro nods, as if to say, I was always with you, I just wanted to fuck with Renault. And then and Renault nods as if to say, yeah, okay, cool.
I don't have a bedroll. Is this going to be a problem?
It might be, because I don't think any of them... they would all have equipment for themselves. They're like, you didn't bring a bedroll, boss?
I'm surprised it wasn't in the starting equipment.
Some things you'd think were in there or not.
Or not, no. Can I sleep in the cart?
Good, yeah.
Okay.
You could also ask the orc if he has one. To spare.
I could, yeah. It's true. He had a very nice tent. No, I think I'll do okay on the cart. Yeah. So throughout the night, I'll try and instruct everybody to keep fires low. Let's make one. Let's cook up the rations. And then let's put it out. And use the moonlight to eat. And then, set up branches and sticks and a perimeter to try and make sure that we have advanced knowledge if anyone tries to get to our campsite. It's 8 hours, right, for long rest, so we can start with a 2-hour watch from... Actually, does Ragni have dark vision? Ragni has dark vision, right?
Ragni does have dark vision. As does Alessandro.
Alessandro is a key piece, yeah. But the dark vision's nice on Ragni. So actually, we'll leave the fire blaring, and we'll put a torch down next to the fire. One of my torches, which I'll remove from my inventory. And we'll let it burn out for a while. So we'll light the torch, we'll put it down next to the fire, we'll cook food, we will eat. Everyone except for Sir Renault will go to bed. We will leave Renault for 2 hours at watch. Then the next 2 hours will be Ragni on watch. The torch will be out. After Ragni is finished, Alessandro will have finished his nightly meditation, and he can cover the last 4 hours. Right?
Sounds good.
Okay.
So, remind me again, who was the first person?
Renault with a torch.
Renault.
Ragni with the torch unlit, and then the last 4 hours is Alessandro.
Yeah, also unlit. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we're going to have Renault... well, why don't you, in Renault's place, roll a perception check and roll a D8.
It's such a shame Renault couldn't be here, but I will roll in his place.
He's dead.
Perception. I guess he doesn't have a bonus, so just be wisdom. 14 on the wisdom check, and then 2 on the encounter. Or on the random D8 that I don't know what it does.
He says... Well, he doesn't say shit.
Oh.
You don't hear anything.
That's Tarius.
Nice. I'm gonna say that
Oh
nothing,
yeah, wait,
nothing...
we're all eating rations, so I'm actually gonna use my before we continue with this horrific night.
How is it horrific? You met a nice orc.
Who knows yet? Who knows? All right, so that's 5 of us. So am I the one? I'm the one with all the rations, aren't I? Yeah. So yeah, so we're gonna try to save all of these 5. That's a fail. That's a fail. That's a success. That's a fail. That's a fail. Alright, so we saved 1 ration at least, so we only used 4 of the rations. Cool.
Okay. Yeah, so you
Sorry, I interrupted you. I know you were in mid.
No, I was just thinking I'm happy about this ration mechanic. I think it's a good yeah, for everyone who wants to see, the expert repackaging is a homebrew mechanic because Putty picked grocer as his background. Tarius, he doesn't show it, but he worked as a grocer during he was like a teen, right? Or like
yeah, in his late teen. I mean, it's not like he was.
Just realize this. You said you were a quartermaster. The grocer quartermaster connection works really well, and I didn't think about that until just now. Like you had some experience with packaging, with organization, with logistics.
Yeah. I remember now.
And that
I couldn't think of what you were thinking of, but yeah, I remember now. I was quartermaster before I was lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like the climb here makes sense. Like you were trained as a boy, and then you became a grocer. Then when you joined the Fist, they're like, hey, you'd be good as a quartermaster. And then yeah.
And just to be clear, it wasn't like. It wasn't really. It was my job. It was my occupation, but it wasn't really like a job. I wasn't like a peasant doing that to get ends meet. My family had a farm, and that was just what I did on the farm because we all help out.
Yeah,
that
makes sense.
Or I guess a small town or small village. I guess. Right.
Yeah, I mean, in some sense, you probably your food that you packaged probably got sent to the village to be sold or stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
Or But yeah, so you are, and you would have been also part of this expert repackaging. Also, is grocers are good at keeping rations from going bad, right? So you're able to resalt them if they don't have enough salt, or resmoke them if they need to be smoked again, things like that. The sort of the ways that you keep things from going bad.
And we do smoke the wolf meat that night.
Oh yeah, you smoke it that night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, eventually, the next watch passes. Nothing too bad happens to Renault. You'll find out in the morning, perhaps. But I would like Ragni to roll a perception check or wisdom if he doesn't have perception, and then also a d8.
Okay. $10 for him on the perception, and then 4 for the d8.
Nice. Ragni reports nothing too crazy on his watch. We'll find out. And then finally, Alessandro, I need him to roll a perception check and 2d8.
Do you want me? I assume you want me to roll 2 of each, because this is double the length.
1 perception check and 2d8.
$17 on the perception, 1 and then an 8.
I think that's funny. Okay. Yeah. Alessandro, you or not Alessandro, you Tarius are woken up with a kick in the middle of the night. What? Yeah, it's rough. It's definitely rough.
Oh. Okay.
The kick was rough.
Okay. Well, I look up and I say, "What?" Well, I don't.
And you hear Alessandro scream, "Beasts!"
I grabbed my 2 swords, and I say, "What beasts? How many?"
You can immediately see near the campsite there appear to be 2 huge hulking wolves, but they're bigger than wolves. They're blacker than wolves, and they have strange gnarled hair.
Okay, the severity of the kick, and the fact that I'm in the cart and that they're out there, I'm like, I drop the swords, I grab the bow, and I grab some arrows. And then I said to Alessandro, get the others awake. And it'll notch an arrow and I'll start.
Cool. Yeah. So everyone, why don't you have everyone roll initiative?
Cool. When you clear out the turn order for me.
I shouldn't need to.
Oh, yes, of course.
You should be able to roll into their own things.
I haven't added my initiative macro to this game yet. So I'm going to take some time to do that. It's not going to take long, but it'll speed things up a lot in the future. It just lets me roll initiative from...
You have a button at the bottom of the screen.
Pretty much. It's at the top of the screen. But yeah, but it's whenever I select a token. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Show as token action, save. Alright. This should hopefully work. I don't know how it's going to work with the retainers, but it should work. Yeah. Okay. That should be everybody, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. These wolves look awfully like humans.
What looks awfully like humans?
The wolves, well, I assume. Well, they were wolves, right? They were giant, gnarly wolves of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2. It's not too bad. Also, would I have cover from melee attacks in the cart? Unless they get in the cart? Like 2? Like a...
Yeah, if they try to attack you from the side of the cart, you'll have cover.
Cool.
But they could, you think, get up into the cart if they wanted to.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, so they are going to
Gnarly wolves. That was my description, how dare you.
I described what you thought about them.
It's my description to keep and hold for my own. All right, what's the relative positioning of everyone here? Is it like, what do we go? You wanna put the tokens where they were sleeping?
Sure. Might actually help us to just move to a blank map.
Sure. Yeah.
Blank screen.
Oh no! Oh, we've lost all of our initiatives because you need to copy and paste the tokens over. I think. I hope they retain their initiatives.
Well, the initiative should still be here.
I think
you can't see the turn order?
Yeah, but it only shows the wolves because the tokens aren't on this map yet.
Oh, would you pull the tokens out of their character sheets? It should work.
Oh, okay. You could just copy and paste them, but that's fine. I'll do it.
I want to see if it works.
It does work.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Nice.
Although the initiative has... I still don't have their initiative because these aren't the same tokens.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just copy and paste them, delete them.
Good. Hopefully it works. Hopefully it's not fucked. My fingers are crossed. Uh-oh, their initiative is not here.
Oh no. I can see them, so I'm not sure what's going on your end.
Can you put me back over on the other screen? I'll take a screenshot, and then we don't have to worry about it. Yeah, cool. Let me just take a screenshot. There you go. You can take me back over, because then I'll just always have like at least a rough idea of what initiative everyone's on.
Take me back. Okay. So in terms of the cart is probably like here. Yep. You're sleeping in it. Alessandro just got in and kicked you. Um, I'm gonna say he actually already did wake up Sir Renault and Ragni.
Okay.
And Kristen as well. So this is the position that they are in.
And then where be the wolves?
Where they be is the question.
Also, I'm assuming Renault and Ragni have 13 AC for this combat. Would I be correct? Yeah, I know they don't technically have armor, but it still feels weird for them to be at 18 when they wake up, right?
Yeah, we'll give them 13. That's chill.
That's the light armor value. I don't think there's one lower than that. Or is there an unarmored value?
There's not one lower than that. They either have 13 or they have nothing.
Well, nothing would still be 10, I think. Or
no,
10,
0.
10 plus dex, I guess. Which for Ragni would actually be 13, so hey. And for Sir Renault would also be 13, so they are unarmored for all intents and purposes. Oh my, are they being ridden?
No.
Okay. Good.
Okay. It is now Sir Renault's turn.
Okay. It's a rat bastard. I assume he... Never mind. That's a stupid question.
What are you going to say?
I was going to ask if Sir Renault was on a horse. He clearly isn't. We're going to move up 10 feet. Yeah, and since he's probably going to... I think he would get back all of his stuff in like a couple hours, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Then he's going to make a Radiant Lance attack. 12 to hit.
Okay. Yeah. He does not hit, unfortunately.
Unfortunate. Alright, that's the end of Ragni. That's the end of Renault's turn.
Okay. It is now Kristen's turn.
Is she still asleep? Or is she awake?
She's awake.
Gotcha. She gets up all befuddled. And will take a Scorching Ray attack at all of them at this southern warg. Yeah. That's actually really powerful. Jeez. So I guess we'll just use Ray of Frost since it doesn't seem to program in the ranged spell attack. So it'd be a 7 to hit, a 9 to hit, and then a 10 to hit. Alright, cool. None of those hit. We're all doing great at the start of this here combat.
Fantastic, yeah. So she uses her big... Immediately, you see as 3 beams of fire fly up past the wargs and miss their targets. And Kristen just goes, "Oh, damn it!"
It's okay because me and Alessandro have now had our path lit for our arrow barrage.
Of course. It's now Alessandro's turn.
We'll start off with the boy Alessandro. Although before he shoots, he's going to use his bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark, which deals an additional 1d6. Yeah, okay. And then he will use his arrow. 9 to hit, and then that's the end of his.
This is some rough fucking luck.
Over to off good boy Tarius Jr., who's looking at his team like, "You have all done excellently with the tactics. You have lined it up for me," and used up all the bad luck. He is hoping take an attack with Iguana. That's probably hitting 23.
You hit. Which one did you attack?
The southern one.
Okay.
9 piercing damage, and then I will action search and take another shot. 26 hits for 7 piercing on the bottom one. I don't see health bars if you were planning on them being in the game. I'm not sure if you were, I forget.
They don't have health bars for me either.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, your 2 arrows hit into this mass of flesh. It does not kill it. It keeps coming.
Okay.
But you can definitely tell you drew blood.
Oh, good. Do I have a bonus action with my bow? I don't think so. So that's the end of my turn. So it's Ragni now, right?
Yeah, Ragni, because he has gone after you successfully hit, will automatically hit with his attack.
Whoa. Is that part of Ragni's things?
That is part of Strongholds and Followers.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. In that case, Ragni is going to walk up. I didn't read that in Strongholds and Followers. That's a big deal. I completely missed that. So he'll use Commanding Strike then, and automatically hit. And he chooses me as the ally.
It also makes initiative because normally you wouldn't roll initiative, but because you're running so many followers, normally your followers would act on your initiative, but because you're running so many, I like the idea of them having their own initiative slots.
Yeah. And this character plans on getting alert at level 4, which is really synergetic.
Yeah, which means if you go first and you hit all down the line, your followers will automatically hit. So you going higher in initiative is really useful. In this case, the only person who's going to be able to benefit from this in this battle is Ragni. But in future battles, hopefully more people. Anyway, yeah, so just deal the damage.
Does it make sense for all of them to hit until the start of my next turn instead?
No, I like it doing it at the end of the turn.
Okay. So 6 damage, and then I get to make an attack, right?
Yeah, so he whacks into this thing, and you hear it as it continues to be hacked at, and then yeah, he turns to you and says, "Bring it down, boy!"
And I oblige, hitting for 6 piercing.
Okay. You can see that the creature is on the edge of its death, but it is still walking.
Alright, well, that's the end of Ragni's turn.
Okay, now for the gnarly wolves. This one is going to attack Ragni.
Eight will miss.
Oh, yeah, 8 miss. Okay, it attempts to bite Ragni's head off, but it completely misses. The other one is going to try to attack Sir Ralton. 11 miss.
Okay.
And with that, I believe they can only attack once, so that is the end of their turn.
All right. I'm gonna. Go ahead.
Oh. Mm-hmm. No, that's only if it gets hit. Yeah. So it is now Sir Ralton's turn.
Okay, I'm gonna try something with Sir Ralton's turn that I think is within the rules, but you can feel free to nix it. I'm gonna have Sir Ralton prepare a signature attack. The trigger condition is that I fire my bow.
That's within the rules.
Okay. And that's the end of Sir Ralton's turn.
It's now Kristen's turn.
Kristen's turn. She will prepare a ray of frost at the top.
Could she hit it? What's the range on that?
Oh, that's a good question. It is 60 feet, so I suspect
okay, cool.
So. Yeah, let me just.
Yeah, you're fine.
And it's after I make my attack. And then it's going to be Alessandro's turn, who will do the same on the top walk after I make my attack. I was totally up for you to say that doesn't sound good, and just like nix it. But yeah, maybe followers can't use readied actions. I don't know, but I'll take my attack on my turn. At the bottom.
I don't think it's that crazy because this is normally how it would work.
Yeah,
it's just so it's not really changing the fundamental balance of how how Strongholds and Followers is supposed to work. If anything, it's making up for the fact that I'm fucking with Strongholds and Followers by giving the followers initiative slot. So that's something to consider. But anyway.
And they can still use their turns independently if they're not attacking, but this makes more sense.
Yeah.
Like they're waiting on my command, I guess. And I'll take my attack on the southern walk. So all the prepared attacks right now are on the northern one, but I'm taking my attack on the southern walk.
Okay.
23 will hit for 9 piercing damage.
He goes, hold, fire! How do you want to kill this warg?
I'm gonna say, everyone, fire! I'll shoot into the back of it, and it kind of sprawls as Ragni just gets out of the way and gives me like a nod, because it's me and Ragni that killed this. Yeah, it was just me and Ragni.
And it is why don't you why don't you
take the
roll
reactions.
damage for Kristen, Renault, and Alessandro.
All right, so for Alessandro first, well, it's a shame that he didn't get to roll, because that's only 6 damage. Roll plus an additional... Oh, no, that's one problem, is that he can't swap his hunter's mark. He should have, but he didn't, so this one actually doesn't take any extra damage, because am I right in saying his hunter mark was on the southern walk?
I think so, because you were attacking that one.
I agree, yeah. All right, so Kristen then. Will deal 8 cold damage, and it will have its speed reduced by 10 feet until the start of her next turn. And then Renault. It's a shame he didn't roll, because 5 damage. See, there you go.
Shame.
There's the, yep, I love it. I actually love it. Karma.
There's your balance.
There's the balance, yeah. All right.
Obviously, statistically over time, it's much better to just have them hit, but it does make you feel like a bastard for not rolling.
I mean, it makes me feel good, because I felt a little dirty about the tactic. So now it's all kind of balanced out. So 6 piercing, 8 cold, 5 piercing.
Yeah. You guys lay into this thing with arrows and a spear and with cold, and this creature looks to be also on its hind legs, begging for death.
Well, Ragni's gonna answer his calls with 15 piercing damage.
That seems impossible.
He's got a D12 on his signature attack, old Ragni.
Christ!
Is he using an axe? Is it an axe? Or is it
it's a massive axe. He cleaves this thing in twain, cutting it in half with his axe. It is dead.
I toss the bow into the cart, and I say, "Would you be a little gentle with the kick next time when I go back to sleep?"
That's the moment where everyone's like, "Don't fuck with Ragni." He just cut this guy. He could legitimately, easily kill Tarius in a single swipe.
That would have literally killed Tarius, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Many times over, it would have killed.
Well, no, Tarius dies from 12 hit points of damage.
Well, no, I just mean it would have overkilled Tarius. It would have, you know, it would have been definitely a death blow. But yeah.
True.
Yeah, so Ragni also goes to sleep, but he burrows inside the corpse of the creature. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
All right. And with that, the combat is over. You go back to sleep immediately, leaving Alessandro to do the hard work of cleaning the field.
He likes
Ragni
it.
and Renault.
He likes it.
Ragni and Renault probably take your lead and immediately pass out.
Well, no, I like to think that Ragni and Renault would like savor their victory, whereas Tarius doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Ragni and Renault would enjoy the battle.
That's fair. Actually, I think Ragni would have been standing on the warg and like just telling Renault how much better he is.
I mean, Ragni did so much more damage than like almost anybody. It was like Ragni, Tarius, and then everybody else, because everyone else missed on the first turn until they realize they need to look at what the lieutenant is doing, and then he'll show them the way.
Ragni's like, who needs a crit? You know, he just got 15 damage on a regular hit. Right. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking. The Renault has the same damage dice. He's just got a +3 instead of a +4. But he does have the same damage dice, because I guess they're both simulating heavy weapons. Because I guess Renault has a lance, and then I guess Ragnar has a great axe.
Yeah. So, so Renault is Renault is shamed, but But yeah, Alessandro and Kristen clean up, and you eventually wake up with the dawn. Alessandro shakes you awake and says, TJ,
Alessandro, was it a dream or did we fight two giant wolves last night?
we did.
Did we win?
We did.
Good. Well done.
He says, we have a visitor.
Oh. Before we deal with the visitor, my clockwork amulet comes back on dawn, right? Let's have a gander.
I think so. I mean, you would know more than me.
Until the next dawn. There's some weird, like some gems like to change what dawn means, I guess. So like it's just back now. Right?
Dawn is the time at which the sun rises.
Even if the I just got a Twitch notification. I'm just gonna go check what that is. Oh, we got 1 bit, Marshall. 1 bit. Amazing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is D&D, 5th edition. My quest right now is to recover a young boy from the clutches of goblins.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, my question was: some people, will it still recover at dawn even if the amulet is not exposed to sunlight? If I'm underground, will it still recover at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be so noodly of me.
Many people do that. So many people do that. Anyway.
Now I will say, because it uses the way in which I would be noodly, because it's very specific in saying at dawn and not after a long rest.
Yeah.
I would be noodly if you did your long rest in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't get it back then. But I think that what matters is that dawn has risen, not that the light has literally hit it. It would have to specifically say this amulet needs sunlight to regain its powers, or something like that. Which there's items like that. Okay. So that would be really weird to who has had that interpretation?
So many people, dude, and I get it. Like it's a different conversation. We should do a podcast on it. But
oh my god, I would fight them.
And do I level up?
You do level up.
Okay, won't take long.
Yeah,
it's champion, so let me just quickly do that.
Why don't you talk the audience through what your level up looks like?
Well, so first of all, I roll for hit points. Now I have a -5 modifier to my hit point gains on level up. But you can only get you can only go down to a minimum of 1 in 5th edition. So even if I roll really badly, I will still gain a hit point. But I'm going to roll a dice here, and if I roll a 7 or higher, I would have been lucky. All right, I gain 1 hit point. So I am choosing champion, which is the most boring, but yeah, I'd say most boring, but straightforward, kind of easy class of fighter, which means I am going to be getting critical hits, which is double the dice you roll on attacks when I roll a 19 or a 20 on the dice. And that is all I get at level 3. Plus the 1 extra hit point. And the 1 extra hit die. Which
anyone who's familiar with 5e hears that and they're like, 1 hit point?
Yeah, people are like, are you playing 2nd edition? Or, no, this is 5th edition. Let me just modify my 2 weapons to crit on a 19 or a 20. Ooh. And we are done with our level.
Nice.
Nice. I'll be here but not actively typing. Cool beans, bro.
So, drop something. So you wake up and yeah, Alessandro says we have a visitor.
Who is it?
He turns and shows you there appears to be a mutt that has come to the camp. A dog.
I get out to the cart and I with kind of a amused look on my face. And then I look to Alessandro and I say, is it dangerous?
He says, no. It appears to be looking for some food, but it's not aggressive. Seems friendly enough. Unless Kristen has been petting it for a few minutes now and it has not bitten her.
I shrug for a moment, reach into the cart and grab out one of the smoked wolf meat rations. And I don't like just chuck it at it, I bend down and present it to the dog.
Just before you do this, Alessandro stops you and says, you want this dog to stay with you. Once you feed it, it will not leave. Dogs do not know the difference between charity and an offer.
Wise words, Alessandro.
Is Tarius a dog person?
Yeah, not really, but he's also like he's relative. Well, not in the past, but I don't think there's anything about Tarius that would disqualify him from such companionship. Plus, a dog would be nice to wake him up. They probably know if I'm about to die in my sleep.
Well, would it? What does that look like?
Well, don't dogs have like this empathetic bond with people and they know when they're in trouble? Or is that just a myth? I've heard that a lot. I haven't looked
I mean, it
into
might be true, but there's a lot of dog myths that who knows. I mean, there's just a lot of myths in general. I don't know. Could be.
Sounds legit.
I guess I say those are wise words, Alessandro. But we're a little short on manpower in the fist. This seems a lot cheaper than paying men. I assume this ration would go a little longer with a dog than it would a person.
No, I don't think so. It's a pretty big dog.
Okay, how big is the dog then?
I would say a little smaller than a German Shepherd. So, it probably weighs like 100 pounds, 80 pounds.
Yeah, it's a big dog. Okay, yeah, sure. We'll give him the meat. I'll offer to. Unless I say, I get the sense that Alessandro was advising me, and not. Do I get the sense that Alessandro doesn't want to keep the dog around?
No, you get the sense that Alessandro was simply making sure that you understood that if you give this to the dog, then you either have a dog now, or you will have to kill the dog, or trick it, or He just wanted to make sure that you understood the consequence. He wasn't necessarily saying that he disagreed with the consequence.
Gotcha. Yeah, I let him know through my body language that I am appreciative of the advice and that it was new and useful. And then I'll present the dog with the meat.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, the dog has the meat, and it immediately latches onto it, begins to eat it, wags its tail, and comes up to you for some pets.
And I oblige.
Okay. It bites you! No, I'm just kidding.
I'm dead! I'm dead!
It killed you! The dog kills you!
My hubris!
Wait, I'm gonna look up dog 5e and see if a dog can kill you.
Well, I'm gonna look in my compendium. Blink dog or death dog? Well, that doesn't look right.
I don't actually think a regular dog is... Oh, a mastiff is in the compendium.
Oh, mastiff.
A mastiff.
Do you mean a shadow mastiff alpha? No, mastiff.
A mastiff could down you in a single hit if he rolled a 5 or 6.
1d6 plus 1. Holy balls, that's a lot. That's actually significant.
If this thing had... To be fair, a mastiff is a huge dog. Okay. But
is this thing smaller than a mastiff?
A little, yeah. This thing isn't as big as a mastiff. But if it has a similar profile, you'd be in trouble.
Are we using the stat block for the dog, or do you want to change it in some way?
We can. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay, cool. I think I can drag it in, and it'll make me a character sheet for it. Hold on.
Nice.
I don't know if I can do that if I'm not the DM. No, I can't actually do that. If you give me a character sheet, I can populate it with the stat block.
Cool. I'll give you one. You want it to be in your folder?
Yeah, I think that's probably the right place to put it.
Cool. There you go.
I'm trying to think of a name.
Penis face.
Oh my. Alright. There you go. I've got myself a mastiff. He has 4 hit points, which is below average, so he's just like me.
Nice.
Huh. This is actually really useful because he can like scout for me.
Yeah, you can. Alessandro would said, if you intend to use it in such a way, you'll have to train it. It might not know how to take orders just yet, but with time and patience, you could teach it many things.
I'd like to name it after like a place. Is there like a hill that sounds like a name somewhere in the north?
In the north. You want it to be named after a hill?
I'm thinking of a hill, something rugged, but that can be seen. But
you could name it after the hill you're on.
Is there a name for this hill?
Probably. Well, you don't know what it is.
Exactly. So is there a hill in the north?
You have an orc nearby who probably knows the name of the hill.
I don't want to disturb the orc though. He seems like a quiet fellow. I mean, he has a storyteller. Tarius is a quiet fellow though. he knows.
You're assuming he's quiet. He's like, come, and Tarius is like, no, leave him alone.
I'll come up with a name later. I feel like Chris if I do that. No, I want to come up with a name now. I'm not good with dog names. I haven't named pets since I was a young child, and I used to name it after TV show characters. I guess no, I can't read.
I can give you a name of a hill that near your home if you'd like. If you want to name the dog after a hill.
Well, throw the name at me, and I'll see. I think.
How about Dragoon Hill?
Dragoon sounds a bit. It doesn't sound like a dog. It sounds like a dragon. Any other hills?
There's a hill down by the river called it's called Mosh Hill.
Mosh, okay. Mosh. All right.
Everyone used to go and eat nosh at Mosh Hill.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did they have to spend a lot of dosh to do that?
They had to spend some dosh to eat nosh at Mosh.
Oh gosh.
Oh god. It was really posh.
Well, most of my upbringing was. All right, so
all the other kids said it was a bunch of tosh. Anyway,
I'm gonna spend the time going over to the wolf corpses, or at least asking Alessandro if he found the 3 arrows I shot last night.
Oh, Alessandro says, I found one of them, and he gives you an arrow.
It would be very difficult for me to hide my disappointment, but I will try, and I'll tuck it away.
And in addition, Alessandro has carved up the wargs. He says, the warg's fur is unlikely to be sold for a high price in any good market. It's very greasy, gnarled, but maybe someone in the who's looking for very cheap fur would be interested. As for the meat, we can eat it, but I don't think it'll taste like mutton, if you get my meaning.
Perhaps dog food, then.
That might be appropriate. Yes, we could prepare it as rations for the dog. They're large beasts. Could probably service the dog for 20 days.
Nice. At about £2 per day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll add those in. And we'll, Ooh, I'm over encumbered.
You could give some of the stuff to other party members to carry.
I can. It's just the first time in 5th edition I've ever been over encumbered. All right. Instead, I can put 10 of these into the cart, right?
Yeah, you can always put things in the cart.
Okay, I'll just put, Actually, I'll put it all. I'll put all of the new warg meat into the cart. And I will write that down in a feature called Items in Storage.
Would you prefer a handout in your folder for that?
Yeah, that can work. I can write it down as a note. That works, yeah. Actually, a character sheet even wouldn't be too
You want a character sheet for the cart?
It always goes this way. Also, could you move Mosh to be below me for my OCD? He's my companion, He's not... Thank you.
You can have Mosh below you, but the cart's gonna be above you.
I'm not mad. It's not gonna bother me. I hate it already.
The body of the cart was above Mosh.
No. No, it would not.
Then it goes below Mosh. Just in the off chance that bothers you as well.
Okay, so since we've got the cart here, it's worth putting in. I've got barley in this cart, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much does... You said it was half a ton?
Half a ton. 1,000 pounds of barley.
1,000 pounds. Holy balls. Is it like... How is it stored? Is it just on one big crate, or are there multiple crates? What's it like?
It's basically bundled up in these really tight bundles that are wrapped with cord.
How many bundles are there?
Oh god, probably like 15 bundles of barley.
That makes up about 1,000 pounds.
I don't know. Let's say 20 bundles of barley, which would make it 50 pounds a bundle.
Thank you. Bundle of barley. You said 50 pounds a bundle, and there's 20 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The cart is over capacity. And then there was 3... How much copper was there?
There was
40,000?
I think they gave you 5,000 copper.
Which
So
is 50 gold.
Silver, 50 gold is the equivalent, but it's in copper, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. As it should be. Copper caught me. Okay. The cart is prepared. The cart is ready.
They honestly, I like to think that the town was lying and they actually had gold and silver, but they wanted to get rid of all their fucking like loose change. So they're just like, gather up the copper.
Look, as someone who lived in the Czech Republic for God knows how long, or for a year, I completely understand that.
Yep, this is all the Czech change.
Yep.
This is a town that tests paying in change. So they, whenever a foreigner comes in who doesn't mind, they pay them all in change.
All right, gentlemen. And Matt, it is time to take honor. I look at Kristen again. Undead. Undead. Okay.
Kristen nods with a reassuring smile.
Sometimes I think they're undead, but that would be so... Okay, so... do the Do the manor.
Okay, you guys climb the hill, and you find yourself at the top of it. You can see that the orc is cleaning up his camp and preparing to leave.
If he notices me, I'll give him a nod and a wave.
He waves back and walks over to you.
Oh no. After I've nodded and waved, I'm going to go inside the building.
Oh, you avoid him?
No, I'll wait till he comes over. I'll say, "Oh, hello there, friend. This is all my companions."
Just good to meet all of you. I do not know if he graced you with my name, but I am... my name, which is a name indeed, it is a name which I have. And my name is Raquelius.
So Sir Renald does not understand what he's saying. Neither does Kristen. Neither does Alessandro. And neither does Ragni. None of them speak Hyrisian.
He immediately notices their confused faces, and then he switches to Low Erigian, which he also knows.
At this point, I turn away, and I'm like...
He says...
It takes so much effort to speak in that tongue.
but in Low Erigian, it's a lot... you can tell he's not as good with Low Erigian. It's his accent for the first time shows, and he sounds like from the few times you've heard Hook speak, he has a similar accent to Hook.
Interesting. Noted.
But you've only heard Hook speak a handful of words the entire time you've known her. But from the few times you've heard her speak, This is a very similar accent to Hook. Hook, or not Hook. Hook comes out of his body. No, he says, well, I am happy to meet all of you, companions of this good man Tarius. I was myself just packing up and preparing to head. Well, I was planning on heading to Regasi. I have a job there at a theater company.
That is further south. I see you have not given any more thought to my offer.
I have thought about your offer, but I'm afraid that I already am contracted to work for the theater guild in Regasi. But I will tell you what. When I am done, if I still can, I will consider making my way back up to Moordrake.
I'll keep that in mind, friend.
I'm sure you can respect it. A man must stick by his word, or else he has little else in the world.
Indeed.
World, not the word.
Word is a valuable commodity, and to disvalue it would be to disvalue yourself. I agree.
Especially in my business. Words are all I have.
And in ours, words are all that has value.
He begins to put on his backpack, and he says, "Good luck inside the building. I hope to see you again. If not, I think I'll know what happened."
Indeed. And if we do see you again, perhaps we can add a story to your list.
Oh, I would enjoy that. Yes. And he reaches into his pocket and he says, "I'm looking to finish this book soon." And he taps on a leather-bound journal and puts it back into his pocket.
I wish I could tell you I'd give it a read. Unfortunately, that's outside my skill set.
You cannot read.
I shake my head.
Seems you are not taught to speak by someone like me.
I look quizzitively, but I look away.
He says, "Have a good day." And as he's walking away, he switches. With one last word, he says in High Arisian, a sort of commonplace phrase that you know is only said in the Arisian Empire itself, which essentially means something like, it's a weird phrase, and it essentially means something akin to "until we meet again." But you've never heard it said except in an academic context, when someone was like teaching you the phrase for fun or whatever. But like, you've never heard people in this land use it on a daily basis.
Gotcha. Interesting. This guy's an interesting fellow. I sent you the monster manual token for the Mastiff in case you wanted to use it.
I like it.
Nice. I'm just uploading it real quick to
It's so beautiful.
It is a nice looking dog. He's a good boy.
He goes brr, 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 brr. This dog's not gonna like the fucking house you're about to go into.
Is this Death House? If you transplanted Death House from Strahd over to a random abandoned manor in the middle of nowhere, I would be upset with you if this was Death House. I'll be honest. And I love Death House.
I don't even know what Death House is.
Okay, good. It's like it's a relatively iconic dungeon from the Ravenloft setting. It's a remake of it is in Curse of Strahd, the 5e.
It's not the castle itself, right?
No, it's the level 1 dungeon. It has a shambling mound in it.
Gotcha.
It's a level 1.
That's really tough.
Yeah.
I played Curse of Strahd once when Jacob ran it, but he didn't really run it properly. We didn't see most of it.
I think that's how most adventures tend to go if you're like sandboxy. Yeah. Okay.
Or railroady in a weird way.
Okay,
Anyway,
yeah.
It turned into a lodge RP, and then he killed us.
Ooh. I mean, that first part sounds fun. All right. So
we rebelled, and we wanted to start a ski lodge in the area.
Oh wait, I've
But
heard
then-
about this. I've heard about this before. This is bringing back
Mhm.
memories. I think you've told me stories, or you and Chris. I think was Chris in it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anto.
Oh, he probably told me some stories from it as well. Then, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Back to Death House.
you enter Death House, the module I know nothing of, and definitely you are not inside. That way, when you see a shambling mound, you know it's just my decision. You know, I made that call.
I blame you for everything that happens to Tarius, Marshall, which so far means that you're in a good place. But you know,
I'll blame you for everything. You can't put that on me. Okay, so he or you walk into to the front of the manor.
all right, let's go. Let's do marching order. I don't like the sound of your gist here. All right, let's me right about here. I need a mastiff talking, Marshall.
Oh, the mat. So quick. So fast. So massive.
Nobody really to cover my flank. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Oof. The hexes. I hate hexes. I love hexes, but I hate hexes. You can't do anything nice and OCD pleasing on hexes. It's not very nice. Oh god. Oh no, the squares. Oh, comfortable squares. All right, that's a lot more comfortable, you know. Let's check Renault and Ragni. Then we can go. Oh, this isn't going to be aesthetically pleasing at all. That's not too bad, actually. Yeah. And then the hound. And then the hound can be at my side here with the axe.
So you're bringing the hound inside?
Absolutely, I'm bringing. He can knock people prone. That's super useful.
What if he's not been trained properly? What if he just runs at the first sight of combat?
Oh well, then we'll learn a lesson.
What, you want the hound there?
That's fine, yeah. If you make the token representative of Mosh, I will be able to control the token. Nice. Cool. Yeah, he's basically by my side, but yeah, he's medium, so he can't occupy Kristen's space. Actually, that's a good point. Let's do this instead. Yeah, that kind of looks weird.
You could do this.
And leave myself open to a javelin. No, Marshall, no. It's a bad idea.
You can still get hit by a javelin in this formation.
Yeah, but I bet I have cover. I think it depends where it's.
No,
coming from.
I don't think it would count as cover. I don't think in that situation because you don't have like.
It depends where it's coming. If it's coming from here, surely I would have at least half cover. I'm smaller.
Oh, it's coming from. Well, I mean,
Renault.
I don't know. Yeah, but they could, but why wouldn't they be able to just shoot it from this gap?
Because they're standing here in theory. If they were standing here, then sure.
What
I
if
don't
they're
know.
standing here?
Then I would not argue that I should have cover.
My point is, this is just as defensive as this. It just depends on where they are.
Well, no, because they can defend me in multiple locations, right? Whereas Renault would have to move in here, and then he leaves a gap. Whereas, like, if they're all attacking from this northern flank, Alessandro can make this movement up here. And it's a little harder to flank around then, especially if the corridor is very narrow. If the corridor is this narrow, then they can't get a clean shot off on me now.
The corridors are all 30 feet wide. and they're filled with creatures that can easily flank. Just when they just immediately encircle you. Their only true weakness is when there's an alleyway. No, I'm just anyway.
I've realized what your concern is there, Marshall. You want a cage, and I'm happy to oblige. So there you go, Marshall.
There we go. A cage.
The cage.
I thought it would be so fun to use Blood Bowl marking rules in D&D.
I've thought about it many a times.
I think it would make combat much more like just min-maxy or just like just very careful with the placement.
Yeah, I think it would be fun to do like I have Shield Meet, which is a holiday in the Forgotten Realms, coming up in one of my games right now, and if they want to throw a pig around, there will be a chance for that with some Blood
Nice.
Bowl
I like
inspired
that.
rules.
I
yeah.
do think if you use Blood Bowl rules for combat, any players who, if the DM knows Blood Bowl well and the players don't, they will be slaughtered in every encounter.
Well, yeah, I would only want to do it if there were players on both sides of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we are entering in this rough order. I'm saying Renault, you brave man, you charge ahead.
Cool. And Ragni is the back. The
sturdy spine, like a mountain.
Fine. A mountain. I like it. Ragni likes that. The comparison pleases him. Yeah, so it'd be also interesting because I know in some RPGs, just moving within range of another enemy triggers an opportunity attack.
Yeah.
Like, so that basically is Blood Bowl rules. Or it would kind of be like the Blood Bowl rules if you did it like that. And then a cage would actually be a really good way to protect you from melee attacks. Anyway, but you begin to march towards the front door. You see what appear to be little brambles which lead up to the door and have since become overgrown. And you also see what appears to be the ditch that your friend told you about. Well, perhaps he's not your friend, but Kelly has told you about. And he pointed out, and you see that it's probably a ditch that was dug about 2 feet deep. Not enough necessarily to be at all insurmountable, but enough that someone would either have to jump it or get down in the muck. However, the ditch is dried up now. What?
How wide is it?
It's about 2 feet wide as well.
Okay.
But now it's completely dry. No water in it to be spoken of. And there's no plants growing in it, except weeds. And you can easily cross it. There's even a couple places where it looks like there's almost the ditch has like earth has started to fill in parts of the ditch just with natural erosion. This has been many years, you've been told, since this place was actually in use. And you are now upon the front door. 2 huge oaken doors that appear to be lacquered and painted, but the paint and lacquer is starting to wear away from time. But the doors still stand sturdy. There's no holes in them or anything of that sort. And there's huge brass knockers on either side. Do you open, or do you knock, or do you bust down? What is your opening salvo?
Well, Renault will be at the head. And I won't... Does he look to me for instruction, or I'm going to watch and see if he does anything?
Oh, yeah. So Renault walks up to the door. He presses his ear against it and then takes his ear off and wrenches the door open. And it appears to open. It is not locked. He then moves. He motions for Alessandro to open the right side of the door, and the 2 doors swing wide open as light enters, and you can see the main chamber of the mansion. It appears to have a balcony that rolls around the top of it with 2 staircases that roll their way down. And in the foyer that you are looking into, you see old end tables, you see china cabinets, rug, and 2 suits of armor, all of which inside is covered in dust and cobwebs.
What kind of armor is it?
It appears to be plate mail. But you know that if you were going to use it, you would definitely need to take it to an armor smith first, because all of the whether it's because it was not great to begin with or age has not been kind to it, the armor at the joints, you can tell it would not. If you wore this, you would kind of be like the Tin Man, like you would have trouble moving at all because of how rusty the joints look.
Would that still apply if I was looking to wear breastplate from it?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Okay. What does a breastplate look like? Does it have? Wait, yeah, because they shouldn't have any joints, right?
A breastplate also has a part that covers your stomach, and the two have to move together when you, for example, breathe out or anything like that.
Yep. I didn't think about that. That's a good shout. Okay.
I can actually, if you're interested, there is a video I watched on an armor enthusiast who, like, he puts on an entire suit of armor with every single piece of how they would fit with plate armor. There's like shit tons of them. But anyway, but yeah, so and not only that, because it's decorative, you're not even sure if it was fitted to be worn. So like, you just think in general, if you want to use this, you'll need to take it to an armor smith who can refit it first.
I don't think. I mean, I'm running the napkin math. I'm pretty sure even breastplate is worse than leather armor for someone with my decks. I have studded leather, so yeah,
that's fair. I mean, yeah, it could also just be something you refit and sell. Plate armor is obviously very valuable.
It is. I had this discussion.
Or you could retain it in the guild's armory
for my next character.
For your next character, or just people in general.
Yeah, I don't know though if it looks ceremonial and stuff. And also, we had this conversation in the campaign I played earlier today. I don't like the idea of just grabbing loot and hauling it across the land to sell. It's like it's not. It just feels very I don't know what's the word, but I don't like the feeling it gives to me. So I'm not going to do that. Like little things, like valuable things, sure, but like I feel like in reality, if this were real people, even if it was worth 1,000 gold, the actual like damage it would do to you carrying it across the land just wouldn't be worth it. You'd much rather look for like little valuable things.
That's fair. I think it depends on like how many people you have with you, and also like what you have that can move stuff. Like in your case, you have a cart, but something to consider is that your cart is already carrying a half a ton of barley, so loading it down with heavy armor might be too much for the horses to bear.
Not to mention, like with a ring, you can at least put it in your pocket, and then you've got a very valuable thing. Whereas with the armor, that becomes a target. Like it's heavy, it's hard to defend. You can't just grab it and get out of there. You know what I mean? Like you've got to like if you get robbed, if there's robber barons on the roads or something, the armor is it's not a defensible item, right? Like it's very heavy. You've got to win that battle. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of the horses, did you let them graze or did you tie them up?
Whatever Renault's recommendation would have been.
Renault says that if someone was watching them, he'd let them graze, but if no one's watching them, then he would recommend they stay tied up.
Yeah, then I don't want to spare any of our manpower here, so we'll tie them up.
Okay. And he says, hopefully no one will steal the ton of barley. Just fucking thieves come across. They're like, where are we going to find a half ton of barley? Wait a second. It's right there.
We've entered the Monty Python skit.
So you
walk into the... Oh, yeah. So, but yeah.
And I was just saying, thick cobwebs cover everything. A huge layer of dust in the room.
Well... I'm a noble, but I don't think we have a manor. Have I ever been in a manor?
I assumed your family did have a manor.
I probably not. I don't know. Probably, actually. But probably not built like this one.
So I'll say this. Whether it is a manor by the consideration of our, like, what we think is a manor, doesn't matter too much. If minor nobles are given a plot of land...
Yeah.
and they don't have a castle, then it would be considered a manor.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, legally,
Yeah.
your family has a manor, but maybe it's actually just like a two-story house, and it's not like a big mansion, you know?
Yeah. This one looks like it's built for... I mean, this was an off branch of the Baron's family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably like very, very fancy. Have I ever been in anything of this stature? Or something even like similar? It's a layout question I'm looking to have answered, so that's why it's in that direction.
You have... Did you ever visit the... I'm trying to think, would your family have ever sent you off to visit any other royalty or any other nobility?
No, it would have been my sister, I think, because I was training to join the fest.
Then no, you've never been in a manor this fancy before.
Well,
I'm thinking your family home then is more like a farmhouse than it is like a mansion.
Yeah, it's probably nicer than anything else in the village, but
it's a big farmhouse, but it's still a farmhouse.
It's basically the seat of government for the village too, right? So it's All right. Well, in that case, I don't really know if I'd be drawn to any particular place. You said there was a staircase. What are the exits to this room in total?
You see not counting the staircases that lead up to a balcony area, you see 2 doors on the left, 2 doors on the right, and double doors ahead of you.
And then I can probably see from here whether there's doors on the balcony, right? Or is it a big balcony?
It's a big balcony, and it's difficult to see what's up there without going up there.
Gotcha. Do I hear anything?
Roll a perception check.
20. Dirty.
You can sense that you don't... I suppose it is weird how quiet the place is. Because maybe you would expect a manor that has been abandoned for this long to have like squirrels in the walls, or bats in the attic, or bugs flying around, or any number of things. You know, wild animals will usually move into abandoned buildings, but there's not. You don't know. You hear nothing. It's dead quiet.
Okay, and there's no. Well, no, there won't be. There's no lighting inside, no candles lit, no lanterns or anything like that. But are there any windows?
There are. They are heavily fogged over with grime and dust.
So it's still quite a dark room.
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to tell everyone, watch my back, stay here, keep an eye on the balcony, and I'm going to try and stealth up the stairs.
Nice. I like it. Everyone starts looking around, touching things. Anyway, you begin to...
With my daggers out, or my short swords.
And you get to the top of the... you get to the top of the stairs. And
is this a staircase that goes like and then or is it
like I said, so there's 2 staircases and they go like this.
Oh, okay.
So they round around and they meet halfway split apart at the top.
Then I will go to the left one.
Okay. So you climb up the left one. You reach the top of the balcony. And from here there are 3 passages you could go down. There is a double doors. They appear to be made of glass right in front of the balcony. There's also passageways on the left or the right. Further from here, you can see down and very well see your companions below. Ragni waves at you.
Okay. I'll start by continuing to be as low profile as I can, sticking to the walls and the darker areas where there's less windows. I will start with the left passageway.
Okay. You head down the left passageway, and you find yourself in a hallway with doors. At the end of the hallway, there seems to be an end table. Propped up upon it is a little statue.
What's the statue? Oh, wait, by a little, how little do we mean?
Probably about this big. It's hard to see what it is unless you go all the way to it and look at it. Do you do that?
How many doors are there?
4.
2 on each side?
Mhm.
No. I'm going to go to the first door on my left. Open it.
You open it and you find yourself in a well-appointed bedroom. There is a bed, there is a fireplace, and there is a writing desk, linen closet, a few other necessities that you would expect to be found in any fancy bedroom. The writing desk looks unused,
Okay.
in the sense that there's no papers on it currently. Who knows if it's been used before?
Yep.
The bed appears messy. It has not been made. And
Are there any drawers in the writing desk?
yep, two drawers.
I'm going to try opening those. Let's see if they're locked.
The top one is not locked. You open it, and you see a lot of different writing equipment. If you wanted to, you could scavenge this, but it's basically like inks, quills, wax, things like that.
I will take
Letters,
I will
parchment paper.
I will take the wax.
And take the wax, okay.
Yeah. How much? Oh, what's the weight on this wax?
Is wax a thing in the player's handbook?
I think it is, yeah. Sealing wax. Is the sealing wax?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you can
So
find
this
it
would
under-
just be. There's 2 things of sealing wax. Apparently, they're weightless.
Oh, cool.
So
All right. So I can seal 2 letters, is that right? Or would it be... Yeah.
no, you could use this on multiple letters.
Okay. 2.
It's basically so a sealing wax is basically a rectangle of wax about this big,
Yeah.
and you burn a little bit of it each time. You could
Oh, okay.
probably, we'll say 10 letters to each one you could use. So you could seal 20 letters with the wax here.
Okay. All right. Then. Just so we don't forget, because we'll forget that. It might come up. The other one, I'd like to take my sword and try to break the lock.
I didn't say it was locked.
Oh,
I said the
you're
top
right.
was not locked.
You're right. Inconspicuous by its absence. I'll check the other one.
Okay, it's locked.
Was there any need?
To torture you. Okay, so you
Actually,
yeah,
I actually have a crowbar, so I'll try and.
Oh,
pop open with that. Yeah.
that's better.
Yeah.
That's not as embarrassing.
I'm just gonna make attack rolls. All right. Okay. Yeah. The crowbar.
Okay, you take the crowbar, you wedge it in there. Why don't you make me a?
Can I say that
Yep.
I'm trying to do
why
this?
don't you make me a DC 13 athletics check with or strength check with advantage?
Okay. Can I say that? I'm trying
Actually,
to
we'll say athletics.
Yeah,
What?
athletics is fair. This is athletics and strength are definitely fair. But can I try and say I'm using technique rather than my raw strength to try and like angle it in the right way and kind of try and do it in a finesse kind of way?
You can, but the crowbar only grants advantage to strength checks. So if you want to try to finesse it, you won't get advantage.
Okay, will I be able to use acrobatics or will it be at raw dex?
It would be raw dex.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. So it's a +4 versus a +5 for advantage, roughly. So I'll take the advantage strength check.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh wait, it's advantage athletic. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. What DC did you say it was?
DC 13.
Ooh, there's a good chance. Yee, 14.
Yeah, you click it in and you begin to push down on it, and you can tell definitely you'd have no chance of opening this without the crowbar. Actually, I guess maybe you would have a chance because you rolled the 14 first, but you begin to. But the crowbar is important, so
I agree.
you begin to press down, and you hear a and a snaps like a snapping that you can tell is the lock breaking off the wood hinges, and you can just easily open it now.
Okay.
You've totally fucked up this very nice vintage writing desk.
We can't carry the writing desk. What's inside?
You open it up. If you were a real adventurer, you would haul out this writing desk. You would sell it in another town. I'm just kidding.
Well, we are gonna hope. Well, there was an idea in our heads to perhaps spruce this place up at some point, but I don't think.
I get what you mean on the not wanting to like it being weird to haul things out. I do think it can be fun if you play a character to the extreme, though, because I once played like a rogue who was so greedy. Like, it was like we were in a house, and I was like, "Does this place have plumbing?" And the DM was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "It's copper plumbing, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm going to start stripping out the copper pipes. And so I started stripping the copper pipe. And the DM was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's copper. It's valuable." He's like, "Fuck, what?"
Yeah, no. If you play that as I always think things are more interesting when you play them as a flaw, and that's what that sounds like. So yeah, definitely, yeah.
We made a lot of money, but it took us longer. But yeah, so the you open it up. And inside, you find a dagger. You find a small coin purse, which, if you look inside, contains 20 gold pieces.
Wow. Okay. First things first, I'm going to add the dagger to my character sheet. Just so I remember that I have it. We'll take that back to the wizard.
You also find a sealed letter.
Ooh. Well, I can't read it anyway. I was about to ask how I would feel about opening other people's mail. We'll see what the group thinks about opening other people's mail. Alright, let's bring Tarius back from a different tab so that I can actually drag shit into his inventory. A sealed letter. Ooh, mysterious. Alluring. Alright. Dagger from locked drawer. Then 20 gold pieces, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. I'm going to put that provisionally on the cart, if that is alright with you. Because it will eventually go on the cart as, like, to be distributed when we get back to...
Cool.
Yeah, it's company earnings.
Company policy.
Hell yeah. And I will put the sealed letter in my pocket. I will have a quick gander around the room. Make sure I haven't missed anything obvious. But that's fine if you want to tell me.
There's a ghoul in the corner.
No.
And he's like, "Gobbly-ghoul," and he sort of just walks away. No, you don't see anything else obvious in the room.
Cool.
If you're looking for things of value, there's a few other things, but there's nothing, I think, of interest.
Is there anything... Well, okay. In terms of stuff of value, is there any jewelry?
No.
Okay. Then I think... Obviously the cloth is going to be valuable, right? But I don't think Tarius would be interested in that kind of stuff, so...
you just throw down from the balcony fucking piles of linens
and linen, yeah. All right, I'm gonna
the party just has to start hauling linens to the cart.
I'm gonna head over to the bottom, this right door, on the bottom right. Yeah, the one directly across from that bedroom.
Okay, yeah. You go there. You attempt to open it. It is locked.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'll attempt to crowbar the door.
Okay, you gonna go with strength or dex?
Is it exactly the same DC and exactly the same situation as last time? Okay.
It is a higher DC. Opening this door will be a DC 15.
But otherwise, it'll just be raw dex versus athletics at advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I do.
Actually, I thought about it. It makes more sense if your attempt is to pry it open deftly, that it would be sleight of hand if you roll dex.
Ooh. Oh, no, I'm not proficient in that either. But I looked at it and it was like, 4, that seems high, but that's just my dex. When I multi-class rogue in 2 levels, in 3 levels, then. Nice. Yeah, but no, not for now. Okay, well, that does make sense, though. I agree with you on that one. I think I'm right in saying that advantage generally is about a +5. So I'm gonna...
That is what is considered the average. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck they calculated that, by the way, but it's some sort of statistics guy.
Yeah, I trust it. So I'm gonna take the strength check at advantage. Yeah. 18. Whee!
Nice. So you reach with your crowbar and apply it to the door, and you winch with your weight behind it, and you hear a whoosh as the lock busts out on the other end, and it's now the door swings freely. Because also, when you break these locks this way, it actually just completely fucks up the mechanism. The door can't even seal properly now. It just kind of swings on its hinges.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so the door swings freely. If you look inside,
Peering inside. I'm not walking inside. I'm peering inside.
Just peering. You're glancing, googling, if you will. It's very dark inside. You can see what appears to be another bedroom, but this one is dressed with even dustier linens than the last one. It appears to be more bare. It doesn't have a writing desk, but it does have you can tell the linen closet is more used in this one. There's far more like cloth and different items inside it. And for a moment, you're pretty sure you see someone in the bed. And you hear, "Is that you, Maribel?"
Yes, dearie. What do you need? Can I roll
Maribel,
deception?
you sound different. Yeah, sure. Why don't you roll? Actually, why don't you roll? Yeah, no. I was gonna say if you were trying to impersonate Maribel, but you don't know who Maribel is, so yeah, it would just be deception. I was gonna say if you're trying to impersonate Maribel, it'd be performance, but we're gonna roll deception.
They are equal for me anyway. Ooh. 22.
Maribel, you sound unwell.
It is the winter.
It is. Oh, the months, they pass so quickly.
Is there anything about this
It's
voice
not-
that is different than
actually
a regular
winter.
voice?
What?
Is there anything about this
What'd
voice
you say?
that's different to a regular voice? Like, does it take on a different character?
Sounds very, very old and raspy.
But not like there are old and raspy people though, so it doesn't sound any way. Can I make a perception check or an insight check, whichever one you think is more appropriate, I guess.
Insight.
Gotcha. Damn. 14.
Yeah, there's a sort of hollow quality to the voice. It's empty of bass. Empty of it's all treble. That might not make a lot of sense to you, but basically, like, there's no thump behind it. There's no guttural. It's just.
Okay. I wait for the next whatever that comes next.
Okay. You just hear. If you could bring me a glass of water. I'm so thirsty.
Where are the glasses, dearie?
They're in the linen closet.
Is the linen closet but beyond
It's in
the bed?
It's in the room. It's in the room,
Yeah.
and it's across from the bed.
I walk to the closet.
Okay, you walk to the closet, and do you reach inside to try to find the glass of water?
Yes.
You find an old pitcher of water in dusty glasses. Do you pour a glass?
I take the glass and I'll pour water out of my water skin.
Cool.
Yeah, fresh
Yeah.
from the river.
Yeah. Do you turn to face the bed?
I hold it in my hand. I pull.
And as you turn around, there is no one in the bed. The room is empty. The glass is so dusty. That drink was gross. You're like, oh god.
I drip from my water skin. Okay, I don't like the fuck, whatever the fuck that was.
What the fuck?
I'm gonna have a look around the room for any lock boxes, strong boxes, or drawers, or anything like that. Safes, anything like that.
You do find a jewelry box in this room.
Okay.
It's on a cabinet. Yeah, it's locked with a really little lock. If you wanted to force it open, you could.
I wouldn't want to because I assume the jewelry box is quite nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
So I think selling it as a box is probably better, or finding someone in the guild who can open it.
Mystery box. What's inside? Who knows? You pay me 500 gold and you find out.
Or we obviously, I mean, I assume Hook. I bet Hook could open it nicely off somewhere. I don't know. Or maybe we can find the key. Bet the key. Yeah, I bet the key's gonna be somewhere. Hook nods.
Yeah.
I give the box to Hook. No. Okay. Actually, that's a good point. I'm gonna look around this room for a key.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make me an investigation check.
Yeah. 16.
Okay. Tell me the places you look in the room. There's a linen closet, there's a bed, there's a cabinet, and then there's of course, the jewelry box.
Under the bed, or under the pillows, and then they're bedside tables.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look on the bedside tables under like candles. If there's drawers on the bedside tables, I'll look in there. I'll reach up to the top of the cabinet. I'll search above the cabinet. I'll look in the linen closet, I guess, at the bottom of the linen closet. If there's any drawers towards the bottom for like delicates, maybe I'll look in there. On the windowsill, above the door.
When you're looking in the linen closet, you find a key wrapped up in several pieces of cloth that are pushed in the corner.
I'll try it on the box.
It opens.
Cool. What's inside?
A little ghoul, and he goes, "Hello." No, just kidding. It's it appears to have a couple of bracelets, a few brooches, several rings. They all look valuable.
Okay.
Many of them have jewels on them.
Yeah.
And most of them are silver or gold bands.
They're all kind of piled up as if to be like, they were used for jewelry. They're not special anyway. I'll close the lid, and I will put the key in the lock. Does it just stay there? If I leave it, like, is the lock set in such a way that I could stick it in and just leave it there?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll put that in my satchel. Would it weigh anything?
Yeah, it would weigh a pound.
Okay. I would like to search through the linen closet for any it's clothes, right? Or am I wrong?
You're asking what's inside it?
Yeah, I guess.
It's a lot of like cloths, towels, bed sheets, no clothes.
Okay, I'm not going to look any further into that then. I don't think. So I'll just close the linen closet and I'll leave.
Okay.
This room anyway.
As you re-enter the room, you hear, "Oh, get the fuck off me!" echoing from the chamber behind you.
Oh, I was in the corridor, but I assume I still hear that, right?
You hear it.
Okay. Then I'll...
No, you hear it from from where you came, not... Yeah.
Wait, so from the balcony?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I run towards the balcony and have a look what's going on.
Yeah, you look... Because the corridor doesn't have a door dividing the balcony from the hallway. And you're on the balcony, and you can see that the Ragni is being attacked by the suit of armor.
I knew it.
So I think we're going to end here, and next session we're going to start with a combat between your party and the suits of armor.
All right. Okay. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
That's the second time this week I've fought these things. They are nasty.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've never used them before. They're kind of fun.
High AC is always scary in early level 5e, but I'm sure this will be fine.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll need to use the bow.
I might do. Well, I'm up on the balcony at the moment, although it would be cool to dive from the balcony with my swords. Give me freedom!
Although the fall damage might kill you.
How high up is the balcony?
It's on the second story, so it would be like 15 feet up.
All right.
So you'd only take a d6 of damage.
Which could knock me unconscious.
No,
No,
because
I
you have
can't
7
anymore.
HP now, right?
I'm level 3 now. Hey, I am so beefy. 7 whole hit points, boy.
Christ. Tarius is a sad man.
Alright, so I met an orc, befriended him. We killed 2 wargs. We befriended a dog. We explored a good bit of the mansion, found a jewelry box, opened 2 doors, and found a dagger and a sealed letter. Ooh, so gotta keep that in mind. I'm gonna write that down. I wasn't gonna write it down because I thought we would deal with it, but we didn't. So I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget.
You have to write it down. You can't read,
I can't.
so you can't deal with letters immediately. That's the funniest thing about this game. He finds a letter and he's like, "Well, this could be important. Better minds will know."
I'm not sure if Tarius would like the idea of opening other people's mail, but
That's true.
what are we looking at for XP?
You get 6 nickels and a doubloon, which translates, of course, everyone knows to.
You don't need to tell me, but tell the audience.
You don't have to tell me, but tell the audience. Well, of course, I'll inform the audience in case there's anyone at home who doesn't
Anyone
know
new?
pirate law.
We don't like to gatekeep you.
Yeah, of course. Those of you who are not buccaneers sitting at home, it is equivalent to 250 XP.
Coolio. 1350. Awesome. Anything else?
Cool.
Anything else we need to do?
No, I think that's good.
Awesome. You wanna
That was a good haul.
Also, I've just realized I have not been recording at all. We're gonna have to export the Twitch VOD again. Whey!
No! Thank you everyone for watching. And I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I think we'll call this we'll call this episode A Peculiar Traveler. Yeah, hopefully you guys can check out next time. And that's all from me. See you later.